there is this campaign on the right of the right wing to encourage a Labour Party tsunami at the next general election that wipes out the Conservative Party to 0 seats or as close as possible. To actually encourage the Labour Party landslide in the belief that if they do this, the Conservative Party will realise that they have betrayed their own voter base, that they are no longer a right-wing party, and from the ashes they will rebuild something that is in clear distinction to the left wing and re-emerge as a real strong right-wing force. And if you've not seen my last video, there's a link in the description to it. It's called 0 Seats for the Conservative Party, where I go over this in detail. But here's a reminder of it, and I have to remind you, this is AI-generated altered content.
In recent years, we have greatly accelerated our plans to crush the ethnic Britons, making sure we openly show our hatred to you at every turn. And let me be clear, we do hate you. We despise you. We have not done enough, though. Despite all of our betrayal, our blatant loathing of you, you still vote for us. Even as we refuse to simply deliver a referendum, and then when we do, we subvert your wishes by then opening our borders to the world. Even as we take all of your wealth and make the promised public services completely unusable, there are still some of you who vote for us. It is you, our voters, who we find the most disgusting. To combat this, I am incredibly proud to introduce our new policy, 0 Seats. 0 Seats is the policy where we shall do everything possible to make sure at the next general election, we as a party obtain 0 seats. You will have already seen 0 seats in action, such as arguing over how much of your money to send to foreign conflicts that are nothing to do with you, or straight up making you homeless as we lavishly treat foreign peoples and hand over your property to them, and then criminally punishing you if you so much as point any of this out. So please, when you think about the next election, think 0 seats. If we all play our part, we can finally make 0 seats a reality.
So this is what's being pushed by people on the right wing. Now, I've raised my concerns that if this happens, there's no guarantee that the Conservative Party will remodel itself in the guise of the right wing. Who's to say that they will wake up on the day that the day after this has happened and say, my God, what people wanted was us to be a right-wing party? Because there is precedence for this, bear in mind. And it's this. Back in 1997, there was a Labour Party landslide which put the Conservative Party into its period, which is known as the political wilderness. So we had a period then from 1997 onwards where the Conservative Party struggled in opposition to remodel itself, and we went from William Hague as a kind of caretaker leader to Ian Duncan Smith. Then we had Dracula, and then this guy, everybody's favourite, David Cameron, eventually won in 2005 the leadership election of the Conservative Party and did the remodelling into what took it into its electoral success. And so we have to, I think, look back at what that was. What kind of a party David Cameron took the Conservative Party into being. And it was not a more right-wing party. Let's remind ourselves, I've dug some of these clips up from back in 2005 when David Cameron was debating David Davis to become the leader.
But I think what really matters is actually, do you know what needs to change in the Conservative Party? Do you know the direction you want to take the party in? Do you understand what modern, compassionate conservatism should mean? Do you know what the big challenges are facing this country? Have you identified them? Have you thought them through? Can you put a team together that's going to meet those challenges? I think that matters more than anything else. And that is why I put myself forward in this contest, because I think I know what needs to be done. I don't want to fight the last 3 general elections again. I want the party to change. I want it to be more optimistic. I want it to be a voice for hope and optimism and change. And if we do that, I think we can win. I do have experience. I've worked in...
So I mean, remember, this is a Conservative Party struggling in opposition in the political wilderness to figure out how to become electable again. And a scenario such as this will play out again if the Conservative Party are wiped out to zero, or what's more likely, like 100 MPs or 150 MPs, and they have to figure out a way back into office. And let's tune in a little bit more here to the same debate.
I would say at our party conference, I didn't stand up and make a speech about what people wanted to hear. I said what I thought needed to be said in terms of changing the party, modernising it, making sure we got back in touch in our cities and in touch with people's aspirations in this country. And when it comes to taking difficult decisions...
So it was difficult to find David Cameron's victory speech when he did win, obviously, that contest against probably the better candidate, David Davis. I can't find it on YouTube, but right at the very end, he did set out his stall. So this was back in 2005. He said, "People in this country are crying out for a Conservative Party that is decent, reasonable, sensible, common sense, and in it for the long term of this country. And that is the party we are going to build. And I want everyone to join in. To those watching at home, if you have a passion for positive politics, come and join us. If you want to build a modern, compassionate, Conservative Party," this is where this phrasing came from. And it's still here today, isn't it? "If you want to build a modern, compassionate Conservative Party, come and join us. If you want me and all of us to be a voice for hope, for optimism and for change, come and join us in this modern, compassionate, Conservative Party. Everyone is invited." And even as they lose today, there are appeals to this kind of rhetoric.
And remember, the thing everyone should take from Birmingham and the West Midlands tonight is this brand of moderate, inclusive, tolerant conservatism that gets on and delivered has come within an ace of beating the Labour Party in what they consider to be their backyard. That's the message from here tonight.
That's the message to take away from massive electoral loss. So I ask you again, if you want the Conservative Party to be wiped out to a very low number of seats and then rebuild following massive electoral defeat, then what kind of a Conservative Party do you expect to be rebuilt from those ashes?
We can change this party and we can change this country, but we need the courage to do it. It will be a wonderful journey. There will be no turning back, no false starts, no more tacking one way then tacking another. We will stick to it. And let the message go out from this conference that a modern, compassionate conservatism is right for our times, right for this new generation, right for our party, and right for our country. And if we have the courage to grab it, to seize it, the bravery to fight for it with every ounce of vigour and passion in our bodies, nothing and no one will stop us. Thank you.
I'm sorry about the quality of the video there, but we are looking into the past. Now it's just worth reminding ourselves, actually, that, by the way, we didn't even get a David Cameron government. If you recall, what we actually got was this in 2010. And David Cameron himself reminded us at some point about the dangers of sometimes it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't. It is worth just playing this too.
If you vote UKIP, that is really a vote for Labour. And here's a thought. Here is a thought for you. on the 7th of May, you could go to bed with Nigel Farage and wake up with Ed Miliband. I don't know about you, but not one bit of that works for me.
So look, this is a warning. This is a warning. Whatever you might think of the Conservative Party today, and I'm still not convinced that wiping them out to nothing and delivering this in the modernised form of Keir Starmer will necessarily give you in the following years anything other than another rebranded version of this. I mean, somebody has to explain to me how the Conservative Party in the wilderness again, in the next wilderness of defeat and despair and attempting to rebuild themselves, are going to be convinced that what they have to do is lurch towards the right wing after electoral defeat with everybody voting towards the left. Will not this same scenario play out again and we end up back in a series of missteps and mistakes, followed by a Blair number 3 or 4? What will it be? I suppose if Keir Starmer is Blair number 3 and this guy was Blair number 2, we end up with Blair number 4. So anyway, that's just some more thoughts on this 0 seats campaign by the constituency of the right wing, who are dissatisfied with the Conservative Party. Rightly so, by the way. But I just question the scenario and the future that will play out as to how they expect the ashes to be put back together in a resurgence of right-wing politics. I'm not convinced. I remain to be convinced. And if you want to watch that other video, the link's in the description where I talked about this meme in greater detail. All right. Thanks for listening. Give this one a thumbs up on the way out if you don't mind. Thank you.